Are you on starting soon? Cristiano Ronaldo. We're live, yeah? People could hear him, I see.
There we go.
So
Yeah.
nice, yeah. Well, then
That's
I
the
gave
most
him the full one.
Yeah.
You know, I had to give him the full one after it started.
A 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So we are back. We're gonna speak on getting back, and then we'll do the well, you know, the usual.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are back now after quite a long break. We were gone for what was it? 3 weeks? Nearly 3, maybe 2.
2 weeks off.
So because we do the pods on Monday, it was like 2 weeks off, but then also like another
A day.
a day.
Yeah.
Another day.
Yeah.
So it was like 2. It was like 18 days. No, 15.
15.
But a significant time
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So we apologize for that, but obviously that was much needed
Mm.
for the rest and recovery of us, and
Mhm.
you know whatnot. So we're happy that we got to take that time off, but we're also super happy to be back in the studio, back doing everything with Glass on Grass right now, working with all the other podcasts, working with the website, you know, all the stuff. We're really going to ramp it up in about a month. We can talk more about that later, another episode. But yeah, we're super glad to be back, and we're excited to get going. without further ado.
Without further ado. Welcome back to the COG Weekly podcast, season 3, episode 25.
There it is, 25
Yeah.
of season 3, nearing 100, as we say. Wait, consistently
25% to
of the season.
of the season. Yeah.
It's not possible though to make 100 in one season.
Well, you don't know.
Well, if we were to increase our
We could
productivity, we would have to do twice a week, and then we would, because 52 weeks in a year, like 1 week off, and 50 weeks.
We've already taken 2 off.
But no, we would adjust.
We start
obviously.
now.
Yeah. Start now. A podcast or 2 podcasts every week.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're good.
There we go.
Obviously, a lot has happened since we left the studio, and we won't be able to cover all of it. We kind of have a special episode today where we're going to talk about some other stuff that's away from the field. And we'll get into that later. It's not related to, the Champions League games that happen today or will happen tomorrow, or any of the Premier League or international games really that have happened in the past 2 weeks. The only area where we're going to discuss that is right now, when we discuss who we think the Hassani of the week is. No matter what, we're not going to miss the Hassani of the week.
Of course not.
No way. So, without further ado, let's get the people up on screen so that we can debate amongst ourselves, and whoever else is in the chat, if they want to pop in and say something about who they think deserves it. But me and Mac have already discussed what we think, and so I'm just gonna go left to right.
Yeah.
Starting with Mr. Gareth Bale, who has been officially leaked on transfers, the Instagram transfers.
Oh yeah.
So they work with Fabrizio, so they're relatively legit.
Yeah.
They said he is leaving Real Madrid this summer, but they don't know where. So it's I feel like we've been expecting that, but it is confirmed that he is leaving Real Madrid, and I think both parties will be somewhat happy about that. Obviously, most Madrid fans and quite possibly the club think he's been kind of a snake, stealing tons of money from them for the past 3-4 years.
A parasite.
Exactly. So I think both parties will be happy. Gareth Bale has not been happy there, hence him not playing and him having poor form. But in another European country where he tends to play, in fact in Wales and surrounding countries during World Cup qualifiers, he does very, very well. I'm sure you all know how it goes when Gareth Bale steps on the field for Wales, but it's the same old story as this past week during European World Cup qualifiers. He scored 2 goals and one that was an absolute worldie of a free kick.
Incredible. Now, I wouldn't put him above James Ward-Prowse, as he also did score a free kick this weekend against Leeds. But it was different technique to Ward-Prowse, and the dip on that, incredible. Skimmed the crossbar as it was going in, top corner, near post. I mean, he's just different gravy when he plays for Wales, isn't he?
It's like when Hector Bellerin decided to get up there with Rob Baptiste and say different gravy,
Exactly.
It's similar to that. Yeah. He's incredible. It's just crazy. Obviously, like you said, you can't compare him to JWP.
No.
Especially when you see JWP in person. I don't know if you want to tell the crowd about that, but he's incredible. Moving to the center, we have Christian Eriksen, who obviously has a fantastic story. About a year ago, a little less, in the Euros, I'm sure all of you know, whether you're a soccer fan or not, Christian Eriksen had cardiac arrest on the field and actually was pronounced dead for a couple of minutes during the game, and then he miraculously came back to life and his heart was beating again and whatnot, and he's now playing football again, which is crazy on its own. But on top of that,
months after,
it's insane.
Yeah.
And that's crazy enough, just playing sport again after having that kind of incident happen to you. But he's playing really, really well, and I mean, his stats go to show for it. I mean, right now, 2 goals for Denmark, 1 goal in the Premier League, and I believe he also has an assist. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, probably the greatest story that's come out of football in decades, maybe.
There was that other guy that also had a cardiac arrest on the field.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book about it, I believe. We talked about this last year or during the summer.
Yeah, we did.
But I don't. He retired from football after that. This is so crazy, in that Eriksson's literally gone back to the exact thing that had caused him to have that in the first place, which is, you love it, and he has been cleared, and he's safe to play because of the new medical precautions that are put in place for him, which is awesome. But I would have to imagine it'd be very scary.
Yeah, and also like not even like you said, just playing like exercising, but exercising and playing a sport at the highest level,
absolutely elite,
the Premier League, and for his country, and the goals aren't tap-ins either. They're trademark Eriksson goals as well. So yeah, I think also he did score at the stadium that he had cardiac arrest in the summer as well, which is just another
it's just a cherry on top. It's crazy
that story, and it's gonna be hard to beat him this week for Hassani of the Week.
It's gonna be hard. We have one more contender, but
we do.
No, before we go into that, it is going to be hard in everything.
Exactly.
The third contender, as you can see on screen, is Christian Pulisic, who had a hat trick in the USMNT's game. When was it? Was it like a week ago?
Yeah, it was a week or two ago. They had 3 games.
Obviously, World Cup qualifying games, which ended in a 2-0 loss for the United States, but we did qualify because we didn't lose 5-0. Kind of weird circumstances there. But in the game prior to that, he was able to get a hat trick, 2 penalties, and I mean, you can.
Was it 5-1?
I think it was 5-1. Yes.
Yeah, against Panama, maybe.
Yeah.
2 penalties. But very well dispatched penalties. As you are a penalty,
I'm a penalty expert. I know how the hips move.
Yeah, exactly.
Very well placed, dispatched penalties, as you said. Mm-hmm. And the third goal was just a bit of class.
Wow.
Just a bit of class.
I believe it was Anthony Robinson with the ball in, and then he took a touch. Maybe it wasn't, what he wanted at first, but he kind of spun his defender with it all in one move, and then tuck it between the other defender's legs to then have a wide open opportunity to just slot the ball home to complete the hat trick, which really took the pressure off of the whole qualifying last couple games for the U.S. because they needed to beat the teams that they should have beaten, and then really just against Costa Rica they're in that position, like you said, where really any type of performance
literally any
would qualify them. And a 2-0 loss, I don't know.
I wasn't super happy after the game, which is not a great
Neither was Christian. Apparently that's what he said, like first thing he said in the press conference.
Clint as well. Clint
Clint
in the studio was a bit human.
He was like, yeah, we qualified, but I hate losing.
Yeah. Well, it's a bitter taste. It's like, yeah, we just qualified, but we lost to Costa Rica's second team, and now we're going to go play in the World Cup with some of the best teams in the entire world who aren't Costa Rica's second team.
Yeah, and it was our last competitive game until then, probably, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, we'll have friendlies, but obviously
I don't know if Nations League is before that too, because that draw just happened as well, but friendlies and such. But yeah, it as long as it wasn't against Trinidad and Tobago, 2-1 loss to end the qualifying round, which
I don't even need to be reminded.
Yeah,
it's one of those.
But it builds character, I think.
Yes, a character that takes 4 years to come out again.
And only Christian was really on that team.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Shaq Moore.
Shaq Moore?
Yeah.
Was he in this squad? I don't think he was.
He might not have been, but he was in the squad for the 2014 World Cup. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That's how interesting that decision was.
Mm.
Yes. So I'm just going to chime in, and me and Mac discussed this before the podcast, but all comments are welcome about this particular Hassani of the Week, but we will just be weighing our own 2 decisions for this one because we feel this one is one that can't be swayed in different directions. So we have decided, or at least I can say mine, you can say yours, and we're going to be unanimous,
mm-hmm.
but we have decided on Christian Eriksen as the Hassani of the Week. I mean, just an incredible story. Such a cool moment for Danish fans, for football fans all around the world. And I mean, it just shows you that truly anything is possible given the circumstances that he was dealt and how he was able to overcome them. And so it was just a beautiful moment, throughout the entire past 8 months since he was able to get better, start playing football again, and then it just seems like a fairy tale ending here. Although he's going to continue playing, just where he gets back to that form that we really used to see him with at Tottenham. So overall, we're giving it to Christian Eriksen. Now our rating here can be determined. So what are you thinking for Christian on the rating?
Well, yeah, I'm taking a peek at the past scores, and now that we have now we have 5 from the past that we can kind of compare to. I'm looking for Christian, I'm looking at maybe an 8.3.
So an 8.3 puts him above when Raheem Sterling, Anthony Elanga, and Bukayo Saka won it, but below when Kelleher, who won a trophy, and Benzema, who scored a hat-trick in the Champions League to advance Real Madrid, below when they won it. So definitely respectable to put him in that area, I think. Yeah. And obviously it was a good performance, but the real enhancement of his score goes to the I would say, other circumstances.
Yeah, just the storylines.
And so for me, so you go an 8.3?
Yeah, that's
for me. Score. So Raheem Sterling got a 7.5 rating when he scored a hat trick against Norwich.
Yeah,
and I feel like the overall difficulty of the actual football was similar for Raheem Sterling and Christian Eriksen. Their actual football, what they did on the field, and then weighing off the field, I think I bump him up a whole point. So with Raheem being at 7.5, I would put him at an 8.5.
Okay.
And if you went with an 8.3, that means we've settled at 8.4. And 8. I think that's super respectable.
That's fair, I think. Yeah, like you said, obviously he didn't score 3 goals in one game, but he did score 2 for Denmark and did score 1 against Chelsea, where Brentford won 4-1 at Stamford Bridge, which very impressive. So, and the style that he scored the goals in. And overall, I think he slotted in nicely behind Kelleher and Benzema in the lineup so far. But we can now move to the international dealings as the World Cup draw happened for Qatar.
Absolutely buzzing about the World Cup. Just to make a little note of this, obviously the themes around the World Cup are always immaculate,
Yes.
The songs, the ball, the hype videos that come before it, the
mascot.
The mascot. Everything is unbelievable. It feels like a surreal experience, almost even more surreal the 2 months before the World Cup than when the actual World Cup is going on, which is, I think, part of the beauty of it.
Exactly.
You look forward to it, and you just keep thinking about it. And I don't know, maybe some people think that's a little bit of a letdown, but I love that feeling. I love that anticipation. And so the World Cup ball has been released now.
Yes.
Which I watched a couple YouTube videos on it last night, getting my binging in on World Cup type stuff. And it's actually pretty cool. Did you see it?
I did see it.
So they've
have done well.
They have done very well. Yeah. So obviously the 2010 World Cup ball was the Jabulani, which was actually right here, I believe.
The model, not the same one.
This is a Jabulani MLS ball right here.
Yeah, that design.
But it's this design. I don't know. Sorry, can they see it right now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this design kind of, it was a really good ball, and I think more than the actual ball itself, it brings back memories for a lot of people. I know myself included. So that's got a special place in everyone's heart. And then we don't have one in the studio, but the 2014 World Cup ball was a Brazuca, which is one of the best
ball of all time for me.
Balls ever made. I think just actual quality of it. And I know I'm nerding out on World Cup balls right now, but that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this knowledge if you really are a huge fan of the World Cup. And then 2018 we had the Telstar. I think it was a pretty big downgrade.
Looking back, the group stage ball was just black and white, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was the Telstar black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bit of a strange one. I would agree.
There's no like the Jabulani and the Brazuca.
The Brazuca had all these colors.
Many colors.
Yeah.
And then it's just
And the cool thing about the Jabulani was South Africa's colors, and the Brazuca was Brazil's colors.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. I always like when they represent where it is, and they also try to represent everything else. So they've done a good job with this new ball. I don't know the actual name. I can't remember it, but it will obviously stick in our brains eventually as they keep talking about it during and before the World Cup. But this ball, it's really cool. It has interesting Alrila, yeah. It has an interesting design, but it's got tons of colors that represent all of the countries that will be competing. It's got like red, yellow, blue, black, white, like all these different colors that are representing or attempting to represent all of the different countries that are going to be competing. And I really like that vibe. And then how they've made it their own is they went with a new design of like triangle panels, which are the little like panels on the ball that you actually see. The leather like stitched together. So they went with triangle panels because the Qatar flag has a bunch of triangles on it, and so there is the red portion of the flag and the white portion of the flag for Qatar, and in between them is a triangle pattern. So I really like the cleverness there, and how intentional they really were about creating that, and I think it's just adding to the excitement about the World Cup coming up. I know some people are all, oh, it's happening in November, but yeah. I think I've gotten past that, and I'm really excited for it to come up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but when looking at this ball and looking at any of the World Cup balls, I'm like, how would this look flying into the top corner on like a slow motion replay?
Yes.
And I think it's gonna look very cool.
I would completely with all the colors agree.
And the spin on it. Yeah, with the November, I'm realizing it's during Thanksgiving break for us Americans. So I mean, it's going to be all
Black
eyes.
Friday is our game against England.
Yeah, it's going to be all eyes on the U.S. And what better stage where there's no NFL on the Thanksgiving day, or
it's the day after Thanksgiving. It's the day after Thanksgiving.
So everyone's going to be watching that, and hopefully, I think there's predictions that it'll be the most watched soccer game in the U.S. ever. So
yeah, I would completely agree, yeah. And like we've said, super excited. But now talking about the draw, which happened, obviously for every competition that is done, Champions League, Europa League, Nations League, like all of these tournament style competitions that aren't leagues have their own draw to pick out the groups, because in soccer, unlike other American sports, you're going to have your group stages and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So the draw happened, and we're just going to highlight the United States because obviously we're a podcast that is based in the United States and whatnot. But what do you think about our draw? I'll just say to the viewers, we have England, we have ourselves, we have either Wales, Ukraine, or Scotland, and then we also have, why am I forgetting the third one? Or why am I forgetting the fourth one?
Iran.
Oh yeah, we have Iran as well. So the Wales, Ukraine, or Scotland is the European playoff. So it's whoever wins between those three that's going to enter into our group. The other two will not be going to the World Cup, but it's them, Iran, and England in a group with us. And so how do you feel about that as a bracket? I know it's been mixed emotions between American fans.
So while watching it, my very first reaction was we just watched Saudi Arabia get picked for our group, but then we couldn't have it because Iran and Saudi Arabia had the same continent. So I was like, okay, that would have been the best draw ever.
Yeah.
But then we got pretty much the worst pick in the last pot, which was the European playoff teams, and the only reason they're in that lower group is because they're in the playoff. And I mean, Wales, Ukraine, and Scotland are not bad teams. Yeah. So I am not. I'm not.
You can cough, Seti. Our producer back there just tried to drink water and he choked, and we are not gonna make him die. You can most definitely cough.
Yeah.
Are you good, bro?
Yeah, I
good. Anyway, yeah, I'm a bit nervous now looking at the potential for...
If we get Wales and England, that is really tough.
Yeah. Even Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Che Adams,
Yeah, no, it's... or even Ukraine.
Yeah, I think we must win our game against Iran.
Yes.
And then it's very realistic for us to hope for a draw against England.
I don't think...
That should be the goal.
That should be the goal. I don't think it's realistic to expect.
No, but that should be we shouldn't go into it being or Greg at least should not go into it being okay, boys, we got to win this game.
Yeah, well...
It should be don't lose at all costs.
I haven't checked the schedule. Which game do we play first?
We play the European playoff first.
And then second?
I believe, then England. Or maybe Iran, then England.
So if England's the last one, it's really just what do the circumstances tell us?
Yeah. Which I think it benefits us a lot. I'm not exactly sure the order, but I believe England's last or second to last. But if that's true, like you said, then it really doesn't matter. We're just going to go out for the win if we need it, or we're just going to hold out and not lose if we need that to go through. But yeah, you're just looking up the...
I'm trying to find it. I don't know if they've actually released... Okay, so our first one... Okay, so our first game is against the European playoff winner. Our second game is against England, and our third game is against Iran.
I like that lineup, actually.
I do, but here's the problem. With the first game being against the European playoff, and that most likely being the second place team, it's like an immediate must win.
Yeah.
And if we lose that game, the chances of us qualifying are so low.
It's really gonna tell us how the group is gonna go. Like, if we go out there and lose 1-0 or 2-0, then we're like, okay, we're in trouble. Now we have to play England next. Like, that's even harder to do. And then say we don't win that game.
Then it's out.
Then we're gonna need to beat Iran, and then hopefully we get that, because there are some like third place teams that get through, right, or something like that.
There's a wild card or two.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I think it'll be very tough, like you said. Wales. I think Ukraine would be the ideal opponent, but all three of them are very good and can easily give us a very tough match.
Yeah, I would completely agree. Especially in the World Cup, you can't count anyone out. No. That's the biggest thing that I think people forget about when going into this competition. I mean, you could have your literal last place ranked team that is in the World Cup based on their FIFA World Ranking, and they could win the whole thing. I'm not saying it's likely or by any means, but this competition brings the best out of people and teams, and so you really never know what's going to happen, and you never know who's going to show up on their day. So at the end of the day, I'm happy that we're in the World Cup. I'm not happy we have to play England. I'm not super stoked that we have to play the European playoff, because that's like the hardest Group 4 team that you would have to play. But I mean, I think we can beat Iran. I think we have a much stronger squad than them.
Yeah.
Again, you never know. So I think that's a win. I just don't know. We're gonna have to perform, and we're gonna have to perform way better, and I think this is inevitable for the U.S., and we need to recognize this. We're going to have to perform better than we did during qualifying.
Yeah, there's no games off, per se. In the World Cup, like in qualifying, you would play those teams where it's like, okay, we don't even have to be at our best to beat this team. In the World Cup, there aren't any of those games. Yeah. Even Iran, I think, will be a tough game.
I would completely agree. It's, again... You just have to wait and see. I hope the boys show up, and I hope that they're preparing mentally in the right way. I think that's huge. But I'm super stoked. I'm excited. It's going to be a super fun November. Are you going to be back in Minnesota then for it?
Well, you would think Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, probably then, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Thanksgiving the same for everyone. Yeah, so we should probably do some COG thing for it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or at least watch it all as a group. But yeah, that'll be... It's just such a fun time. I can't wait. Moving on, there is the final thing and the main event of this week's return podcast. We're going to continue with some more pods that are solo, kind of like this one. This one's not completely solo, but we're actually going to have some episodes in the future where they're just one kind of topic that we're discussing and debating. And this is kind of like a preview to that. So the Premier League Hall of Fame shortlist for 2022 inductees was released, and that you can put it on screen and whatnot. That is out now. So we're going to decide our favorite 6 that we think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, we have no say in this, but
we have the final decision.
Yes, the Premier League have asked specifically that we decide, because we are such a reputable source. Mm-hmm. Also, great stuff. I hope you guys noticed the fantastic I don't know what you call it, overlay that we have going on for the Hall of Fame inductees. It looks very good.
We didn't make it.
Well, let's not be giving everything away. Suddy, to be fair, Suddy did make it. He just didn't make the cards.
What you're seeing right now, everything on screen, he compiled that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Suddy's a beast. Our producer is the best producer, and we know that as a fact. But we are, like I said, going to figure out our best 6 that we believe deserve to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Mac, I think you should start.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I know we have a couple of the same ones. Do we want to roll through those?
We can roll through the ones that we have the same, because I think those are honestly like just definite inductees.
Yeah. So the first one is Didier Drogba. In my opinion, up there as the best Premier League striker ever.
He's so clutch. And again,
clutchest player, yeah.
People are going to say he was not clutch in the Premier League because a lot of his really good goals and really important goals weren't in the Prem. They were in other competitions. But he still was very, very, very good during his time. And on top of the fact that he was one of the most clutch strikers of all time, he was able to score at a very consistent rate. He had 226 appearances at Chelsea in total in his first stint and scored 100 total goals, which is unreal if you know soccer. Getting to 100 Premier League goals is unheard of.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's a 100% guarantee. He did go back to Chelsea in 2014. He left Chelsea in 2012 and then went back in 2014 and had a much less satisfying impact to the lineup and to the team, only scoring 4 goals in 28 games. But his time prior in his first stint with Chelsea was unmatched. So definitely someone that I think we can agree that needs to be inducted into this Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think with the Hall of Fame, at least in my opinion and perspective, it's like when you think of the Premier League, what players do you think of? And he's just an iconic player, and especially, Chelsea's just an iconic club with all the success they had at the time he was there. I just think, he's the face of all their success in that stint, along with Lampard. So we both decided the same on that. And then the second one, another striker, Van Persie, who really made his name at Arsenal and then moved to Manchester United, where he had success as well. And I think, again, the quality of goals he scored, you can watch his highlight tape over and over again. And
you can.
Just unbelievable volleys and everything like that.
Incredible. He had over 140 Premier League goals outside of his other 50 or so that came when he was playing for Fenerbahce and Feyenoord. But 140 Premier League goals is, again, unheard of. He was a class striker outside of his scoring ability as well. He was good at hold up. He was good at passing. He was really just very all around, very good player. Sir Alex talked about him many times when he did play at Man United about how incredible he was. So, when you have a great like that talking about you, it's not hard to understand why he's so great. But yeah, moving back down the field a little bit for another one that we agreed on, and I believe the last one that we agreed on. And it's someone who I think, when you think of the Premier League, his name comes up. And then when you think of just like absolute beast in the midfield, his name comes up, and it's Yaya Toure.
One of the greatest chants ever as well.
One of the greatest ever chants.
Yeah.
Do you think Kolo feels bad that he's like the low part of that and the little brother and whatnot?
Yeah, but he's also playing professional footy.
There you go.
And you can't.
It's one of those.
You can't be too mad about that.
Nah, yeah.
But yeah, Yaya Toure of Manchester City. I think looking back on it, especially when we started first watching soccer, is towards the end of his Manchester City career. But even looking back at what he's done and also the goals he scored, as you have it up right here, still almost 60 goals in the Premier League for a midfielder.
Incredible.
Is very good.
And he's not an attacking mid.
Yeah, he's not an attacking
He's
mid.
like an 8 or a 6.
Yeah, and just incredible goals. He had that swagger about him as well. He's a tall midfielder, but I feel like his footwork was very good just for his size.
In the Premier League, he's scored a goal more than every 4 games.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, he would score between every 3 and every 4 games, which is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how that's even possible as like a CDM center mid, but he is incredible overall. Definitely one that we agreed on and that we understand needs to be recognized in this pool. Now you can go with your 3 that are different than mine.
Yeah, so I did choose 3 strikers, and my third one is Sergio Aguero, solely on the purpose that his goal scoring record speaks for itself, but also the most iconic moment in Premier League history also speaks to his name. Martin Tyler with the incredible commentary. He won the league on the last kick of the game, last day of the league. It was just storybook stuff, and I think, you know, some people might say, oh, he's just lived off of that one moment. I don't think he has at all.
I agree with you. I haven't put him in there, but I feel bad.
Yeah, he's won all the trophies. Again, just clinical striker for, you know, his hold-up play as well for his smaller size actually was very impressive. He adapted to Pep's style of play after the, you know, former managers at Manchester City, and really just an ideal striker that anyone would want on the team.
I would completely agree. I didn't put him in my 6, but I feel he deserves that spot more than anyone else. I mean, like, obviously not more because I didn't put him in there, but like he's on the same level.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, well, it could go either way. My 4th player that I chose to put in was the exact opposite of a striker, a goalie. I felt he was needed to be recognized for his time at both Chelsea and Arsenal. Chelsea first and then Arsenal in the latter end of his career, and that is Petr Cech, who is a Premier League legend. Obviously, people might know him as like the Helmet Man or something like that. I don't know. People ever call him the Helmet Man?
Yeah, he always wore that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him if people call him that, to be fair. But he was.
I don't think people call him the Helmet Man.
You don't think he's like shopping at the store and people are like, oh, Helmet Man?
No, but
okay.
No, I think it's Petr.
Yeah. Petr, Helmet Man.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing, same difference.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to be added to this list. The contribution he's made to the league, the amount of years that he played in the league, and stats don't show for goalies really, but he was incredible.
Incredible. And
it's unreal.
Yeah. Looking, Peter Schmeichel is also on this list for great goalkeepers. Edwin van der Sar. I personally, I think Czech for me goes above those 2 as well.
Van der Sar is close.
Yeah.
But obviously Czech also has had a larger impact on me personally because I was able to watch him.
And I think a lot of these players are in that same kind of vein. Like, we're more familiar with them because we've seen them even if it was the later part of their careers where we just know them more and not in their prime. But I then went with 2 defenders to round it off. I guess I can go these 2 together, but Rio Ferdinand and John Terry, 2 incredible center backs, both had success, one for Manchester United, one for Chelsea. John Terry, I think, is probably, for me, one of the top 3 center backs in Premier League history.
Yeah.
If not in,
in world history.
Yeah, exactly.
Should be taught in world history classes.
Yeah. Rio Ferdinand, that's true. Rio Ferdinand obviously was alongside Sir Alex for all that success. I think he is underrated as a defender. I think a lot of people look over him compared to Vidic when that was a partnership. I think he's just a very solid player. And, when I think of Premier League, I think of him as defenders, him, Terry, all those type of players.
I agree. And I don't fault you for choosing those players at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's such a toss-up.
All these...
They're all
the
great.
25 players.
I feel bad for Teddy Sheringham because I don't know who he is. Like, I didn't actually really watch any of Teddy Sheringham. He's 56 now, and I think he played for Man United. I might be wrong there. No, he did play for Man United. He scored like 111 goals, but it was before 1990 that he scored them, and
it's a tough one.
I can't like physically watch any of that. So yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, people could probably give an argument for Teddy Sheringham. I just don't really know. But my other two that I chose were Ashley Cole and Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes because I love...
Not Ashley Young?
What? Oh.
Ashley Young?
Ashley Young, yes, definitely.
Ashley Young is in my Premier Hall of Fame.
That would be great if I misspoke and I was like, Ashley Young,
I mean, yeah, that'd be a great clip.
Legend.
But, I mean, I feel like in 20 years, when they filled up the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, when it just everyone gets in.
Yeah, it's
Pascal Gross is in there,
Yeah.
It's Che Adams gets a little inducted.
Well, Che's probably in the next round.
He's on track.
He's in the next round, probably.
Oh, next round.
Yeah.
So he's going to retire?
No, he's not. He's not even going to retire. They're just going to honor him right away.
I mean, Che is a great guy. But he's not a one-club player. And Paul Scholes is a one-club player.
There we go.
And that's why I chose him in this. Played at Manchester United his entire career. Did really well there. An outstanding ability to pass the ball 70 yards. And do it at pinpoint accuracy. Had great vision. Scored a lot of goals during his time in the Premier League. Well, that was, I suppose, only his time. Did score a lot of goals. And I just love a one-club player. I think it's super respectable. You stuck with it, and you went through the good and the bad and the ugly with the same club and with the same fans.
With Manchester United, there's not a lot of ugly or bad.
It's
easier to stay at Man U.
It is. Well, right now, maybe not.
Right now, it's very different.
I don't know if Scholesy would have stayed at this point.
No,
but we can move past that. I just think you have to. I mean, he had close to 500 Premier League appearances. I'm pretty sure. Let me check to make sure. He had 499 Premier League appearances with a goal every 5 games, nearly. So I mean, that's really respectable from a center attacking mid who just, I mean, he was tried and tested time and time again. And so I respect that, and I
agree he should be in there at some point, but not seeing Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard on this list, I just couldn't pick them because for me those two go in automatically above Paul Scholes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I respect that.
Yeah.
I do. And then my last player, like I said, Ashley Young. No, Ashley Cole,
the Villa legend,
who was a very good player for Chelsea, played nearly 250 games, didn't score a lot of goals because he was an outside back, but did stop a lot of goals from going in, and is just super respected around the league. I also know of him fairly well because he played for LA Galaxy 2016, 2017, 2018. So it's just one where I'm familiar. I know his quality. I know his class. He's been around the league. He's very respected, and I think he deserves it. And I don't think that's. I don't think he might. I don't think that he's straight into it in the 6. But I have that bias towards him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that rounds off my 6. That rounds off your 6. Respectable. Again, like I said, Teddy Sheringham, players like that, I just can't really give a full explanation towards, what their class and quality was and why they might deserve to be in this team.
That's probably why we're not choosing the final.
Well, did you hear?
What?
The Premier League sent an email.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we actually do have to now.
Okay.
So that's a bit unfortunate.
I think
Sutton actually showed me.
Yeah.
And the GM of the media company, whoever that is.
Yep. I think our Premier League Hall of Fame is going to be just all 2000s players.
We should just put Loons players in there.
Why not?
Robin Lod, Hassani Dotson.
Fernando Bob.
Fernando Bob, bro. Fernando Bob was a legend.
Different gravy again.
Different gravy. I mean, should we leave it off there with Fernando Bob being different gravy?
Yeah, I mean...
You have anything else you want to talk about?
Just look out for a Fernando Bob shout in the next...
We should get a jersey.
We really
We really should get it. Before we end the pod, let me look up how...
Just look up, how expensive a
Fernando Bob...
It doesn't even have to be a Man United one.
Yeah, but I'm going to see first if they have... 2 weeks ago. What? They pressed a jersey for Fernando Bob 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
No way. I'm just clicking this video. Obviously, you guys can't see it. I feel bad about that, but I'm checking this real quick to make sure that that's what... Yep, that's a Fernando Bob jersey. It was made... When was he kicked off for our team?
Was he kicked off? I think he was just poor.
It wasn't like kicked off. He was just like he wasn't extended.
He's just a bit poor.
He wasn't extended.
Poor run of form. He's a great player, but
I can't find. I'll figure it out.
Just go to shopping on Google. Go back arrow. Let's see if we got something. We could just buy a new Man United jersey
and then customize it.
And then customize.
Let me just see here.
Just drop like $200 for a...
They have a Club Nacional. I think he played there. Well, that's a kind of a cool jersey.
It's a great jersey.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We might have to make some calls to get...
Yeah, we might have
He's just such a good player. There's like no jersey.
I actually think we could probably get in touch with Fernando Bob.
Perhaps.
There's probably a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can. Until next time, hope you guys have...
We have predictions.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Dude, imagine if we missed that.
That would have been crazy.
Predictions
and fantasy. Come on.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, I am so behind right now. That's what happens when you take 2 weeks off.
Exactly. We just got to get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad now. Okay, so predictions starting now.
Now I know why. It's because...
Oh, you realized that I did that on purpose?
Yeah, you went 0 for 3 again.
That was actually, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I tried to skip predictions. So I don't need to show my record right now.
We're fine.
9-18 is so bad.
Yeah, you're going to need another 3-0 just to get back to where you were before, but...
clearly, because that's kind of how the numbers work, you know?
I went 1-2, which is respectable. Again.
That's super respectable.
I'm such a respectable...
Such a respectable player in this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, from last time, I believe it was just the El Clasico and a couple of games like that.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into it for your sake.
We're not going to recap that for you guys.
But the first game is a Europa League first leg quarterfinals.
What an exciting one.
Yeah. Leipzig at Atalanta. Atalanta are 7th in the Serie A, and they just beat Leverkusen in the last round.
Let me just spit it out. Leipzig are 4th in the Bundesliga. Actually, no.
Last round they did not. They did not
taken
play.
it back.
Okay.
Atalanta.
Okay. They did not play in the last round, but progressed because Spartak Moscow could not play.
That's why I switched it.
They're a bit rusty in the Europa League competition, so you're going Atalanta.
Yeah, I mean, I want a team who's played in the last round.
I'm a draw man, and the draw will come out again for this game, as it is a first leg, so... You can't even laugh because of your record, you know.
Okay, but it's the low percentage.
I stick to the draw.
So I'm going to Canterbury Park with my dad for his birthday. I'm bringing him there, and we're gonna bet on the horses.
Nice.
Cause I'm 18 now, right? Yeah. So I can do that. You know, kind of cool.
Yeah.
But do you think I'm gonna win or lose money?
Lose.
What do you think, Suddy?
You know a single thing about horses.
Well, but just like with my overall...
You pick the funniest name and then you...
Is that how you do it? You think so?
Yeah.
Funniest name.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know anything, then yeah.
Is that what you do too?
Well, I'm 18, so...
Yeah.
We don't promote...
Yeah, we don't promote child gambling.
Next game...
However.
Next game, an MN UFC. Who could use Fernando Bob? These days.
Yeah, these days.
They're traveling down to Austin. Austin are 4th, and...
I love the selection of games that we have here.
Well, I gotta make it difficult.
Just throw in some MLS to make it difficult.
Yeah. United are 8th in the West, and the last matches, Austin drew with San Jose, who are actually last in the West, so that's a bit of a tricky one. I don't know how they're 4th. And United lost to Seattle 2-1.
In a heartbreak.
I don't think it was a heartbreak. They were down 2-0.
I heard the Wonderwall got really quiet. Yeah.
You don't like to see that.
You weren't singing?
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't?
I was watching a bit of...
I thought you were there.
March Madness.
It's what you have to do.
It is, once a year.
I couldn't be there. I would have been there. I would have been hyping the Wonderwall.
You're always there. Yeah.
You know me, those guys that go down to the bottom area and they don't even watch the game. They just face the crowd.
That's you.
That's me.
You're there.
I'm there, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking
I love the chat just not being at all supportive of my ability to bet.
Yeah.
That's not great.
I think probably an Austin win here.
This is so hard.
It's a tricky one.
MLS, you just can't predict.
No.
But like at the same time, like I need to recover. If I crunch the numbers in my head.
In Heath we trust to lose against Austin away.
In Bob we trust.
Yes, in Bob.
I will go with United.
Wow.
In Bob we trust.
Well, Bob isn't playing.
No, but Bob, his spirit is still with the club.
We're gonna have to see. These are very tough ones, but the last one is probably the most anticipated game of the week. It is Man City versus Liverpool for the title. 73 points versus 72 points. Man City play Atletico today. They won 1-0. Liverpool also beat Benfica. They both played their Champions League today. But this is in the weekend. What are you thinking for this huge matchup?
Liverpool.
Win?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes. It's one of those.
Yeah.
I don't need to explain it.
Mm.
I can just let my record speak for itself. I just realized that doesn't really work.
I don't. Yeah. That means That means Man City's gonna win.
No.
If the record's speaking.
No. I disagree.
Okay. I'm going with the Man City win.
Nice.
At home. Pep's gonna fire the boys up.
Apparently Mo Salah is tired. Angie said that. And no lasers are allowed in the game.
Wow.
To be fair, that should be a new rule.
That is huge.
No lasers allowed. That's crazy though. Like for anyone who doesn't know, Mo Salah got obliterated with lasers. Like he was stepping out to take the pen.
Got violated.
Got absolutely violated. These like green lasers just all over. You gotta think that's bad for your eyes.
Well, I mean, he
And
absolutely skied the pen.
it was out of the stadium.
I don't know if the lasers even did that.
No, I don't think so.
You can't miss that bad.
That thing was out of the stadium.
Yeah.
He hit that with power. He really did.
That was a FIFA penalty.
Like that was a hold down.
Yeah, you hold down.
Circle.
And the circle gets huge.
Yep, and then you just let it
And
go.
you're like, I can't control myself. I can't control it.
I can't do it anymore.
We're pretty split this week.
Yeah, we are.
All different ones. So on to fantasy, I believe.
Yeah, the chat said, "Is that facial hair we see, McLean?" It's not. No, it is.
It's not. I don't think.
It's fake. It's fake.
That's just the camera.
No, yeah, it's you know, it has this weird lighting effect. Suddy, great job with his edits. Like, you know, green screen stuff. He could. I mean, he could give me a full beard if he wanted to right now.
Yikes! I mean, that's really difficult for you here. Fantasy is up now.
Let me get this up.
It was an average of 34 for my fantasy team. I got 53. Just knocked it out of the park.
That is great from you.
But you know, how many captained Ward Prowse to get 20 points?
Not
many.
That's huge from you.
Kevin with a goal as well. Fernandez Bob. Got 5 as well. You know, just solid performance.
I mean, he's a 5 kind of player, pretty consistently.
Yes. What did you do on your fantasy team?
34 average, like you said. Getting a 42, that's pretty good. Like if we're talking normal Lenny here, that's really solid.
Jared's done you
but Jared has done fantastic. Like Connor hasn't even played yet.
Well, you definitely have more.
Actually, no, Connor did play.
You want to check? See.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the password to my account. That's why I haven't been changing my players.
That makes it a bit difficult. The draft, I believe I'm like in 3rd now, and you're in 4th. But
yeah,
I got 55 points this week. Raz, James, Kalechi, Kyle, Virgil, everyone.
That's great.
Everyone chipped in for the 55 points. You just 2 points above the fantasy average for your draft team.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. You know, you don't get the captains. You know, you don't get the boosts.
Wow, Embuemo.
Embuemo's done fantastic. And Embuemo and Cresswell, great from them. That's what you like to see. Ivan with a solid 5. I mean, it's the stuff of dreams. Rob Sanchez as well with a 6. I don't know how he's managed that. Did he score?
Did he draw against Norwich?
Yeah.
Something?
He must have saved a penalty. I didn't actually watch the game. Like, I have... That's why we did this kind of episode, because we have been so out of the loop.
Your team's quite shocking.
It's cool.
You got 2 Brentford players.
I have Simicast in the starting 11 still.
To be fair, I have him in my fantasy team, too.
You have him in your regular.
And I have Yves, too.
That's,
Yeah.
Did you keep him through the incident? That's so tough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so now am I there?
Yeah.
Just so I'm not forgetting anything. I'm there now.
There you go.
Okay, so that concludes your podcast. 7:01. That's great timing.
Fantastic timing.
That's really good. But yeah, that concludes the podcast. Hopefully, you guys have a great week. We'll be back next week, almost 100% guaranteed, like always.
Well, yeah.
It happens.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll be back next week. Same thing. Be here. Be here. Be square.
Ashley Young for Premier League Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Peace.